Well, those people who've watched you throughout the different categories, have watched you race off-road, on the road, I think would say that you have the potential to become a really good classics racer. When we see those clips as well, it looked like that potential was being realised. You talked about the Tour de France there, mentioned Paris-Roubaix. Which are the races that you're looking forward to racing the most?
Yeah, I would definitely say that I'm more a classics rider, and I think that's what I want to target in the future. Yeah, I love the short, punchy climbs, the bad weather, the cobbles. I'd love to win Tour of Flanders and Roubaix one day. They're kind of, yeah, my dream races, and I think that's what suits me at the moment. Yeah, but also I think I could develop into a good GC rider as well later in my career. So yeah, an eye on the Tour de France one day.
All options are on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Cannibalistic mentality already here. Have you spoken to the team about that? Is that always something that's been planned, let's say, since you were joining the team? And I know, the reason I ask this, because I know DSM, they're really into the coaching, the development of riders. And historically, I think a lot of you have watched the cycling with us on the telly and have read lots of Rouleur and seen plenty of reports. They've developed a lot of riders on the men's and the women's side. Is that something that attracts you to the team, the fact that they will have a plan for you?
Yeah, I think what I've really loved about the team is their focus on my long-term development and not rushing about being the best 20 or 21-year-old, but to have like a long career. And yeah, so for example, I've had some bad injuries the last couple of years, and just really not rushing my recovery in that, and yeah, taking the time I need to get back to where I was, and just having a focus on that. I do want to be a good classics rider. Yeah, maybe this year, maybe in 5 years, but yeah, having the longevity of my career and trying to build a foundation, I guess, yeah.
You mentioned injuries there. I hope I'm not prying if I ask, but I know that you've had a couple of pretty serious ones. What was it like? I think you broke a couple of vertebrae, is that right?
Yeah, so last October, I broke a couple of vertebrae in my spine, yeah. That was a horrible crash, actually. Yeah, it was in Depana, which was one of the last races of the season, and yeah, right at the end of the year. And then I was in a neck brace for a month and just learning to ride again, and it wasn't nice.
I can't imagine. And obviously, you didn't feel any pressure then. The way you talked about the team before, you didn't feel too much pressure about them putting you, saying, "Well, get back on the bike, get back on the bike." Was that all left up to you? Because one of the interesting things in speaking to professional athletes is you wonder where the decisions are made, whether they come from the athletes. And we talked to Marcel Kittel earlier about mental health and things like that and how that pressure affects you. And I always find it interesting to see the different teams and athletes' approach. When you were coming back, was that led by you or led by the team?
So yeah, we had really good contact with our team doctor, and so I was talking to him almost every day when I was starting to get back on the bike. And yeah, I think as a rider, we always kind of want to rush and get back as soon as possible, but I think it's really important having people around you and experts that know, the consequences if you do come back too early. Just saying, you have time, it's no stress, just take the time you need to recover and, do everything properly. And I think, that's what's been really nice with the team. They really put my health first, and no pressure to get back to fitness. And at the start of this year, then they already said that you're not going to be in top form in the first few months. And actually the second part of my year has been really good, so there was no need to worry.
Really good is an understatement, I think, isn't it? A couple of national jerseys. But next season, hopefully, I want to touch some wood here, but there's none around, so there we go. We hope they're going to have a normal calendar, COVID and all this sort of stuff permitting. Classics are pretty early on in the year, so I imagine that you're slowly starting to get ready quite quickly again for next year, aren't you?
I'm going to have a bit of time off first. It's only been a week and a half since my last race. So I'll go on holiday, just mentally refresh myself, and have a few weeks off, not looking at the bike. But I think ending the season the way I have with a national jersey, then there's always that motivation to get going again. And I don't think it's going to be hard to jump back into training after a few weeks, and already looking forward to next year.
Are training camps and things like that back this year after sort of, I think there were very controlled environments the last couple of years?
Yeah, we've had some strange training camps the last couple of years with COVID. But yeah, hopefully January, February, back to Spain. Yeah, nice to meet the team again after the winter break and yeah, start preparing for the next racing.
Spain training camps. Do you still live here? Or are you one of those riders who moved out into the warmer weather to train?
No, I still live here. Right. Yeah, I'm not soft yet.
You're talking to someone who went soft a long time ago, actually. In a lot of the countries where they have that nicer weather, we've got the Grand Tours. You've already mentioned the Tour de France. I think you said that you prefer to, or you see yourself trying to win, first of all, those classics races. Looking ahead to the Tour de France, Giro Rosa, you've not raced a Grand Tour yet, so is this going to be the year? And if so, which one, Italy or France?
Yeah, so I don't know my race calendar yet, but I'd really love to do the Tour de France. And I think, yeah, looking at the profile, it's a really exciting race with, yeah, short, punchy climbs, the gravel stage, obviously the last day, really hard. So I think it's going to be a fight for selection within the team. But yeah, something I'd love to do.
How was the experience this year at the World Championships? Because I know that came just before what you did at the National Championships. And there were some pretty nice words for you from a certain Lizzie Deignan.
Yeah, that was pretty special because she's always been my hero growing up. So first of all, to get to be her teammate and then, yeah, her to say such nice things.
There's nice things that she was saying, by the way, because I know that you're not going to say them. The best domestique I have ever had. And Lizzie Deignan, former world champion, winner of Paris-Roubaix and a million other races, she's ridden with some pretty special racers. That's high praise.
Yeah, that was not expecting to hear that after the race. Yeah, I was a bit emotional hearing that because, yeah, someone you've looked up to your whole life saying things like that, yeah, it was pretty special.
Did you enjoy the job, the domestique job? Because obviously you've been, if you don't mind me saying, a lot of people have been talking about how good you are throughout the junior ranks and then turning professional. A lot of expectation, which I can imagine might not have been too easy to deal with when you see yourself written about, and it's something completely different, isn't it, when you've got all the attention on you. But in that job where you're sacrificing everything in your own ambitions for somebody else, certainly a hero, how was that? Did you enjoy it? Was it a different experience?
Yeah, I really loved doing that, and coming out of junior ranks, stepping up to the elite, yeah, I was doing that a lot with my team because, yeah, obviously it's a bigger jump with no under 23 category, so you have to kind of, yeah, learn how the peloton works and you're working for teammates. So for my first 2 years, then I was more of taking a domestique role. But I think it's really rewarding, and when the team wins, you feel like you win yourself, and also you know that if you put in the hard work in these years, then you're going to get paid back in the future when you're physically able to get a result. But yeah, I think it's being part of the team wins I've been part of this year, and also being able to ride for Lizzie, I think it's just as special as riding for yourself.
What's the team atmosphere like in DSM? A lot of people get on. Do you know each other? Do you get to know each other at training camps? And then I guess it depends on which race program you're on. What's the atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's a really good group of girls. We have a base in Sittard, which is the south of Holland, in an area, the Limburg area. So it's
that's Amstel Gold country,
yeah, exactly.
by the way.
Yeah, so we train around there and also in the Belgium Ardennes. So we actually do spend a lot of time together and get to know each other, really well. And yeah, I think it's a really good group, and everyone's really committed to helping each other out, in races and out of races. And also, we're quite a young team, so it's a really nice atmosphere to be part of.
Brilliant. I'm glad you mentioned that area, actually, because they're one of the only teams. Is it like, I've seen pictures of it, they have like a mini housing area, don't they, where you can stay in the houses and train together, and it's almost like when a sports team, a football team, or a rugby team maybe has like a training centre where people stay over. It sort of has that feel from the photos anyway.
Yeah, so a few years ago they built these houses, in Sittard, and we can be based there like during race blocks in the season, and then train together in between races. And I think that's really nice just to have a base in Europe, also with travel, but also just having teammates to ride with and kind of building a deeper relationship.
And when you're with teammates and things like that, because I mean, I think people are always fascinated. I know cycling is different because you spend perhaps more time with teammates, and I think a lot of people think that as commentators and journalists bang on about it a lot, but it's such a big part of the sport is a personal relationship with somebody and how you get on with the coaches and the staff, because you spend so much time with them, particularly in the bubbles that we've all had. And I've asked you what the atmosphere is like, but what sort of things do you talk about? Is it all about the racing, or, do you talk about, has everyone been talking about this Tour de France and things like that, or, do you get to find out what sort of personalities people have, what other interests they're in?
Yeah, I think when we have meetings, then it's about racing, but then the rest of the time, then it's just talking about anything, like nonsense, just like we're friends. Yeah, from my team, actually, 2 of my teammates are now my 2 best friends, so I think it's pretty special to, have teammates that you can trust and, really get on with, and, I think that's pretty special to find.
And have you had to learn any Dutch, or is it all in English nowadays? Well,
I tried to speak in a supermarket. I try, but then they can tell I'm English because I'm so bad, so then they just start speaking English to me. The Dutch learning's not going very well.
But everything in the team, I imagine, is conducted in English because it's such a it's a United Nations team, really. You've got people from everywhere.
Yeah, I think we only have 3 or 4 Dutch riders now. We're very international, so English is the language. In all team situations.
And I guess it's quite unique. Well, not unique, but there's a small number of teams you have, both a men's and a women's side. Do you have much interaction with the rest of the team, the other half of the team, or is it sort of 2 teams and it's all put on for show? What's the real dynamic inside DSM?
Yeah, it's nice because we have the men's team and the development team for the under-23 men. So all 3 programs come together for training camps. So when we go to Spain, then we're together. And also we had our team meeting last week in Holland. So that was a really nice opportunity just to actually get to know each other kind of off the bike. And I think that's really important because it's like crossover with the 3 programs. Also with training, they kind of learn from each other. So I think it's really nice having a women's team alongside the men's.
Right then. You said you've not wanted to see the bike for a week and a half or so. Don't want to put any pressure on yet, because I know that you've just come off something very, very big. We've had the praise from Lizzie Deignan, the prizes of the jerseys that I imagine, are they hung up already on wall? Are they framed? What have you done with them?
Yeah, they're hung up at the moment. They're waiting for the frames to come.
Brilliant. So right, the next conquest of the next prize, the next jersey, trophy, whatever it is, how does it start? How do you build up? Do you begin in the next few weeks? What sort of training will you begin with? Talk us through the build up to the first race.
Yeah, so when I feel like I want to look at a bike again, then I'll start just whenever I want. I think, for me, mental recovery is just as important. Also because of some of the bad crashes, I haven't had an actual off-season the last couple of years. So I said to my trainer that, I really want to make sure that I'm hungry again to ride. I don't want to rush coming back because the fitness will always come. And then we'll just, start slowly building back into it. Strength, endurance rides. I also do a bit of track in the winter, just for a bit of variety. And I think it's really important just to make sure that you're enjoying it, the training, and just like mixing it up a bit. And then, 2 training camps, and then I think February already the season starts with the classics. So some more short, sharp intervals, getting ready for the racing.
Omloop het Nieuwsblad maybe at the end of February. Is that the date on the calendar, or am I
maybe I don't know the calendar, but I've got my eye on it.
I think it's something like the 29th of February or something like that.
Yeah, 26th or...
It's the 20-something.
20-something, I saw it announced.
It's one of the very, very big early season meetings. I think the more that anybody who's used to watching the Belden racing calendar, that feels like the first big appointment, the one where every big name almost turns up, and then you get several races coming on the start list after that, and not everybody sees every single rider again until the Tour of Flanders. I think that's a really big appointment, and then we'll all certainly be looking forward to watching you, and all eyes will be on the screen. I'd like you now, though, to tell us a little bit about the other racing. You mentioned the track there. I'm pretty sure you've been on the crossfield as well before.
Never, actually.
Never on the crossfield?
No.
A little bird told me that you've been on the crossfield. They must have been telling me lies. But the track, has it interested you to maybe pursue a career in that as well? Or has it always all been about the road? Because you mentioned early on that you were talking, you were away with your family riding, whatever you were doing, you were riding bikes. Track indoor as well as Herne Hill, or?
Yeah, so I did track a lot as a youth and a junior. And I had got a few national titles in the Madison when I was a junior. And yeah, it's something I really love doing. And yeah, I've kept it up for training in the winter. I go to Newport, it's quite close to my home, so just to mix it up a bit. But I still think, my heart lies with the road, and that's where I see myself, in the future, focusing on more.
Well, we cannot wait to see you on the road, to follow your progress. We've met her here this very evening at the greatest cycling exhibition in the world, at Rouleur Live. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, the British champion, Pfeiffer Georgi.
Thanks for having me.